like I was saying. Anyway, like I was saying, I forgot to fix my background before I came in here today, so that's the reason why it took me a while to come up in here. That nigga's funny. But anyways, though, I'm up in here. I'm about 20 minutes late. Whatever, though. Instead of ending at around 11 to 11:30, we're gonna end it like shit. We're gonna end it like 12 to 12:30. That's it. But yeah, I'm gonna give folks a little bit of time to go ahead and come in here because I know I came in a little later today. Whatever, man. Anyway, good people. I'm gonna go ahead and start diving in. We got 4 topics per usual, and I decided this time, it's late. I kind of been covering. Oh, look. As of late, I've been covering some kind of toxic type of topics and stuff like this. So I thought I'd bring in a little bit more positivity today. So we got 10 topics. Some of it is still a little toxic, but it ain't the same as the other one. Anyways, we got a 10-year-old scientist that I discovered. The little ninja is smart as hell. He was saying words and stuff about the brain, shit I ain't never even heard of or knew about. And I was like, oh yeah, this little nigga smart as hell. And he's only 10 years old. So we're gonna dive into him. We also got Ray J on the news today. And we're gonna basically cover on him. He gave his little opinion on, he gave his opinion on the dealer and how people perceive him and looking at him. And basically, how his public indoor activity is now being put on display. And he was just sharing his opinion on that. So we're going to react to that. And then we also have Charlamagne Tha God, because I refuse to call that nigga the God. But we got Charlamagne Tha God. He actually given us props on this. Basically, he's talking about what real wealth is. So we're going to do a reaction on that as well. Because, he was saying just having money doesn't necessarily, bring you happiness and doesn't necessarily mean you're wealthy, which I actually can agree with. And lastly, as you see in the bottom, we have the reparations. If you attended my late night after hours live last night, I told y'all we'll be discussing this a little bit today. So, as promised, that will be the last topic. I'm actually going to bring up a guest that's on the reparations committee to kind of explain it a little better than I can. So that is our 4 topics for today. And like my boy said, make sure y'all hit that like button, niggas. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this off with, like I said, the 10-year-old. We have a 10-year-old genius that basically knows a whole lot about the human brain. And I was actually pretty amazed by this. I'm like, yeah, we should absolutely share, the geniusness of this young black young man who knows what he can grow up to become, because this is, to me, this is pretty damn remarkable. So I'm gonna go ahead and share this little. He's sitting down with another scientist. Obviously, this is a bad nigga that's older, but you know, it's just the type of stuff that he's talking about. Like, damn, his daddy or his mama must have been beating the hell out of him with books for him to know this much information at such a young age. But ain't nothing wrong with that. Anyway, let's just go ahead and share the video, and we can just react to it.
You've ever done the clapper thing for TV?
I didn't know these were real. Oh my God.
So there's a brain over there, by the way. So you're very familiar with the brain?
I love the brain.
Do you have a favorite part of the brain?
Let me see if we can get inside it, because my favorite part of the brain isn't on the outside.
Do a little surgery on that there, John.
Scalpel.
I'm your scrub nurse. There you go. Don't cause any catastrophic bleeding. Okay, so what is your favorite part of the brain here?
The hippocampus.
So what do you love about the hippocampus so much?
Memory, because memories are something that you can cherish. And I think
I agree with him a whole lot on this one right here, because your memory obviously is very important. And you know, I think due to a lot of the toxins that we consume now through food, actually, even with some of the electronics and stuff like that we do, I think some of the ladies were doing perms and stuff like that. All of that stuff affects this. So it, you know, it affects how we're being able to remember things. So that's what this young kid is going to kind of allude to a little bit. And also, that's pretty much what the computer that we're so hip to using is designed from.
memories are the best thing ever, because they allow you to share a special bond with your past that usually animals without those developed brains that we have, they can't share that same bond with their past because they wouldn't remember.
If you could change something about the brain, what would you change?
Infinite storage. I would make it so you could remember anything and everything, and you wouldn't forget. That could have its downsides, but I mean, you'd have a pretty sick superpower though. What's your favorite neurochemical?
Oh, well, that's easy. Can you want to guess?
Endorphins.
How did you know?
Those are mine too.
Really? Yeah, most people would say dopamine, don't you think?
Oh yeah, but to be different.
Me too. You know, so what are endorphins?
Endorphins, they're like feel-good chemicals.
Yeah, they are.
They're in the same category as.
So I'm just curious because I'm not a specialist at this. It says this is the feel. Hold on, let me make sure I get it right. Let me listen to it again.
Endorphins, they're like feel-good chemicals.
Yeah, they are.
They're
feel-good chemicals, right? So basically, this is the thing that makes stuff feel good to people. I'm guessing a lot of women, the women must have a lot of this. They base a lot of stuff on their feelings a lot. So I'm just curious. I would love to ask if I was able to ask these questions. I'm pretty sure I can look it up on ChatGPT or something and find out the answer. But yeah, that's pretty interesting.
in the same category as dopamine and serotonin.
Yeah.
And they're associated with the same thing oxytocin is, love.
Yep. And another thing that they're associated with is morphine.
Oh,
Endorphin. That's where morphine comes from. So endorphins are kind of like our own body's natural morphine.
isn't morphine a drug? Sorry.
It is a drug, but it's something
Right.
that's synthetic. But they got the idea for morphine from our endorphins. We have our own morphine system. Isn't that cool? And by the way, that relates back to the placebo effect. Like if you can harness your endorphins, that's why you feel good. That's why expectations and experience are so linked. And you're doing the happy dance. I love it.
Yeah, that's pretty much the end of this little short interview. I just thought it was pretty amazing that this kid at this age was able to actually understand this stuff at this level. Give me a second, y'all. But yeah, I just thought it would be a nice little real life TJ Henderson. Yeah, that kid was raised well. Hope he continues to learn more as he gets older. This is the future, of course. He probably gonna be one of those. I could see him possibly being somebody that create robots and stuff like that. He might be one of these young scientists and stuff like that that can help. Like on the Terminator, how you reprogram certain robots and shit like that. I can see him being one of those. We're gonna need you in the future, young king. So, anyways, though, moving along. Like I said, it's crazy how these tools keep coming up. Y'all ass keep saying something about it. But I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next because I'm really pretty excited about this last one. But yeah, so we got Ray J in the news as well. Like I told y'all, Ray J, like I said, was sharing his thoughts on the Diddy situation. Basically saying he don't think it's right that everybody knows about Diddy's private life, and that what people do behind their closed doors and stuff like that should be their own thing and should be kept private. Which I agree with him to a degree and stuff like that. But also, you doing that glad shit like what Diddy was doing, it ain't right. But anyway, let's go ahead and pull up what Ray J had to say. So, our boy Ray J. Okay, our boy Ray J. Let's go ahead and play what he had to say about it.
It haunts me because it's like, you know what I mean? Like now we know what this do, and now we in his private business. It doesn't stop.
Before I play the whole thing though, I think the only reason why this nigga saying this is because he participates in some of this shit. I'm just saying. I think he's definitely participated in some of this shit. He's like, man, bro, that ain't right how they doing stuff, bro. That mind, the ugly ass shit he got going on, bro. Let that mind be ugly as hell in private. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm hearing right now.
I'm waking up in the morning and being on time for work and getting shit done. Diddy didn't teach us how to have freak offs. You know?
I don't know, bro. I think he taught a lot of people, bro. Because a lot of people didn't know about this shit. They now know about it. He may have taught a lot of people, man.
He didn't teach us that. He taught us other things in business, how to be and how to represent the culture. Now he did some weird, and it wasn't okay. What's up, y'all? At the end of the day, y'all, it's crazy. Just asking people like what they doing in their private time. Bro, when like I was telling the homies, when you close the door, ain't no telling what you're doing. I guarantee you is going home and closing the door, turning on their TV, bending over and letting their dog lick the...
What, nigga? Bro, what does that got to do with this nigga and his freak out? Bro? Oh shit!
Just going home playing around with things that we probably would be totally flabbergasted about, right? That's totally probably unparalleled, but that's none of our business. And so now we in private business, and they don't got nothing to do with what we doing for work. You get what I'm saying? Like, asking, are they gay or are they straight? It's like, what in the does that got to do with anything? I'd rather ask me that I graduate from college or graduate from high school.
Well, y'all heard that, nigga. My bad, I fucked that last little part up. Y'all ain't need to see this dad, nigga. Y'all heard what he did. Boy. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and move on along to the next one. Let me see. Hold on. Let me catch up on some of these comments. You seen who on a song before, nigga? It's good, Bucket. It's not private because literally everything he did was publicity. Publicly known by his own choices. Diddler and Gay J. Okay, I think that's a taboo word, so let me not say that. Ray J got mind control over here. Professional trouble. Charlamagne the Diddy fan too. Absolutely. We remember what that nigga was saying. Hell yeah. And I remember when he used to come on the Breakfast Club a lot and talking about when they used to accuse him of certain stuff, he used to be like, he don't, oh shit, I just noticed I clicked the wrong thing. Talking about how they don't believe what he said. So speaking of Charlamagne the Fraud, that is the next topic. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play also what Charlamagne the Fraud had to say about wealth. And I think this was something pretty good, you know what I'm saying, that I actually rock with him on. I actually disagree with him on a lot of things, but this one right here is something that I absolutely agree with him on. For the right amount of money, some of y'all would move y'all shoulders for a Diddy jet. Hey, whatever, but I definitely agree with you. A lot of niggas would. But let's go ahead and check out what Charlamagne had to say.
How much money you got in your pocket? If what you got in your head and your heart is...
Hold up.
They just literally asked me that question. They said, what's the greatest investment that you've ever made? And I said, the greatest investment I ever made was paying that $150 an hour to start going to therapy in 2016. Because I don't care how much money you got in your pocket. If what you got in your head and your heart is not right, then, you know, you're not going to be happy. So what is having all of that money if you're not happy? To me, that's what success is. Success is happiness. Are you doing what makes you happy? I don't care if you're making multi-millions of dollars. If you are doing something that doesn't make you happy, you're not successful.
Definitely. And we see that you are successful. #1 radio show, Black Effect Podcast Network, all of these successful ventures, New York Times bestsellers list. But what is the brokest that you've ever been?
The brokest I ever been. I've been broke. Like I've been dead broke. I'm gonna tell you the brokest I felt was after I got fired from radio for the 4th time. And what does true wealth mean to me? True wealth don't have nothing. I had to live back at home with my mom in Moncks Corner, South Carolina when I was like 31, 32 years old. And my daughter was like 1 or 2 years old. And being that I had been fired 4 times, I had never collected any unemployment checks. So I was still getting $1,100 a week. And I got $1,100 a week for a whole year. But that was the brokest I ever felt because I had a child. So it wasn't just about me, you know, and my wife had to move back home with her parents in Moncks Corner, South Carolina. So that year, it was 2010, like from like October 2009 to about November 2010. That's the brokest I ever felt.
And what is the one move that you made from that movement that you feel guaranteed your success?
Actually going back home was the best move. And I'll never forget, you know, Kendra G, you know, who I love dearly. You know, Kendra G told me a long time ago, when I got fired from Philly, she told me to enjoy the time that I'm going to have at home, because when I get back in position, I had to live back at home with my mom and mom's. I'm not going to have no time. And she was absolutely right. So, you know, for whatever reason, being in that position, I never felt like that was permanent for me. I always knew that, you know, that next level for me was going to be exactly what it's been. And you know, I remember Kendra saying that to me. She literally said, enjoy the time you having at home now, because when you get back in position, you're not going to have no time. So I think just, you know, just having that faith that there's another level, you know?
Okay, my last question. If you could tell anyone who wants to be wealthy one thing to invest in, what would you tell them to invest in?
Man, invest in your happiness. Like I'm telling you that, telling somebody like, you know, I want to be wealthy. What does that even mean? Because you'll never have enough. You got these freaking billionaires out here trying to be trillionaires. You got these 100 millionaires trying to be, you know, billionaires. Like you'll never have enough if your goal is money. Like, you know, go after happiness, man. Like, you know, sit your down with somebody and I'm not gonna have no time. Unpack some of that trauma and, like, you know, really deal with what's going on in your head and going on in your heart. Find that real happiness, you know, and then you'll be successful. That's real wealth to me, being happy. Unpack some of that trauma and, like, you know.
Okay, so that's the whole thing of what he had to say on that. And me personally agree with that so much, because it's so many people like. I'm gonna go through all the points he made. He was talking about the therapy thing, and I think that's something that us in our community don't do at all. Like we don't really do therapy. For one thing, I guess a lot of people say that, you know, they can't necessarily afford it, but let's be real. We make sure we take money and stuff like that, make sure we save up enough money for the other stuff that we want and need. We're not necessarily need, we want. It's just therapy is not on it's not a high priority list in our community. And to be honest with you, not being able to share that with certain people and not being able to, you know, get out what it is that you really need to get out some of the time is the cause of a lot of mental illness. So I definitely agree with him on that. And I'm not gonna say I go to therapy religiously and stuff like that, but I try to, you know, get my sessions in when I can. But that is one thing that he absolutely, that he's saying that I super agree with. And then as far as the happiness part, you know what I'm saying? The happiness, nothing but the truth, because I know me personally, and I know a lot of people probably can, you know, relate to this, having jobs, and some people might be still doing it now, because, you know, it pays the bills and they see it as, you know, they got to, like, maybe they have a family or whatever the situation might be. But to me, you're never gonna be considered, you know, wealthy or happy until you put yourself in a position where your happiness creates your income. And that's pretty much what I've been scribing and, you know, putting myself to. Like, That's the reason why I moved to California and did with all the things I'm doing right now, because I'm like, shoot, I don't have times and stuff, especially during college days where I used to work 2 damn jobs and shit like that. Literally just going to school and working was my life and shit like that at one point. And so I got tired of, working in all these folks' places and shit like that. So I found a way to be able to do what it is I want to do and still earn income. And so I'm still not obviously financially at the point that I would love to be, but shit, I can still say that, this is, I'm not doing any kind of job that I don't want to do. And to me, that's absolutely true happiness. Like, you can be a person that's doing that, making $50,000 a year, but like, let's say it's enough to do everything you want. That's what you enjoy. You might enjoy yourself more than somebody who's making $500,000 a year, but they completely hate their job. So that was the message to me, and I just thought that was something that, like I said, I'm trying to put in a lot more positive for today's topic. Not necessarily trying to cook nobody today. Let me cover some of these comments. For the right amount of money, okay, I seen that. Can't respect a nigga that called himself a god. I don't know if I can agree with that, because even in the Bible, Christ referred to us as gods too. So I mean, I guess it's how you look at it. But anyways, though, we're approaching 30 minutes, and I'm gonna go ahead and wind down to my last topic, because I feel like this one here is absolutely the finale. I'm gonna bring up a guest. He's a good friend of mine. I met him. We've been knowing each other for like 10 years now. He actually works in the industry with me as well, but he also is part of the Black Reparations Committee. So I know, Buckets, you said it's crazy. You actually knew some stuff that I was saying that most average people don't know. So me and him was talking about this, and I think you're kind of proving him right on something that maybe people are more aware of this than I would have thought. I'm gonna actually bring him up so that we can talk him on this. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. But anyways, though, I get to you guys, a good friend of mine, Mr. Taj Hollywood. Taj, you there?
Yeah.
All right, so y'all can let me make sure everybody can hear him in the chat. If you can hear him, go ahead and press hit 1. Talia said, "What about a point guard?"
What about like that's what I call my homegirl, the point guard. She went WNBA.
That's what they call Chris Paul.
The point guard.
Paul can be the point guard.
That's right.
So y'all can hear him. That's great. So, hold on, give me a second. Let me try to put your
for the right amount of money. How many of y'all will move your shoulders for a reparation check? I see you. I'm getting buckets 21. Thanks for the comment. That's a good comment. Yeah, hey, we could build on that.
All right, so it's good. He's here. Y'all can hear him. That's wonderful. So, and y'all can feel free to ask any questions y'all want to.
Please.
Of course, you can see the chat. But like I was saying earlier, so at my last night chat, right? I don't know how. Yeah, it came up because I was telling them that in the new podcast that we meet, he's gonna be one of my co-hosts on the podcast as well, people. I was saying that, we're going to talk on the reparations and stuff like that. And then, my boy Buckets here was saying that, some kind of way Gavin came up. I don't know how Gavin came up last night. Buckets, if you can remember, you can let me know. But anyways, he was like, didn't he basically, and I'm paraphrasing, torpedo the reparations in California? I'm like, damn. Because you remember I was saying that folks not aware of that, right? So I was like, damn. Maybe more folks know about it than I thought. So that's a shot in your basket right there that that he was aware of. And then Alice, I haven't seen her today, but she said she's very much interested in that too. I'm sure she's probably gonna go back and watch this segment if she doesn't come in time. But anyways, as far as the reparations, I know a lot of people I still think a lot of people are unaware and not too aware with how close the committee is as far as accomplishing this. So I guess my first question would be for you is, first, let's go ahead and talk about what is the things people that needs, or what's the qualifications for people to be able to receive these reparations once they are available.
You have to prove that one of your ancestors was on U.S. soil by the year 1900, 1900. So you don't even have to prove that your ancestor was in slavery. If you can just get as far back as 1900. So it's going to be a genealogy division in the Reparations Agency or the Reparations Bureau that you will go give them your name. And for most people, they'll be able to provide their family history. Say, hey, here's like on my mom's side, I can already go back to 1850. So just to keep the answer short, as in Cali, they draw the line at 1900. So if you can show, hey, here's an ancestor, whether it's a tombstone, genetic census, and say, yeah, my family been on U.S. soil since the year 1900, you qualified for the reparation benefits.
Okay, but obviously, because I'm not sure, maybe you did say this and I just missed it, but you also have to prove that you are a descendant of slavery too, because that would leave a loophole for these finessers to be able to get ahead on it, right?
Yeah, I'm guessing, right. So I'm guessing they left that loophole out of not being too spiteful. So if somebody can say, hey, my ancestor wasn't in slavery, but they've been here since 1900, and this is based off the Cali state recommendations. One thing about Cali, they doing it on the city level, the county level, and the state, and they kind of set the tone for the whole nation. So shout out again to Buckets for being aware of that, because Buckets, me and Jamie had a hard, I'm like, bro, people know about this stuff nationwide. This is not a regional thing. The reparations is known. I mean, everybody not active, but they know about it.
Yeah, so
shout out to everybody that do, and we need y'all support.
No. See, I didn't disagree that people didn't know about the reparation. The part I was kind of, a little more so shocked on was the fact that he knew. Remember, the discussion we had was Governor Newsom, possibly winning over the black votes because of, unfortunately, we vote so liberal historically. And then, you were saying that, the issue he did about basically shooting down the reparations, folks ain't gonna forgive him for that. And I was saying that I don't even think, too many folks even know about it. But he brought it up last night. I was like, okay, so he knows about it. And, he lives in Tennessee.
Look at that. Come on now. That was national news, dog. Because everybody know, Jamie, you familiar with the phrase, and some people in the chat might be too. As Cali goes, so goes the nation. It is what it is, y'all. It's known to be a progressive state, which means let me put it this way. I'm born in Florida. California legalized weed in 1996. Florida just legalized it 2 years ago. That shows you how progressive the state are. So as a black community in the nation, I don't really want us to get caught up in favoritism towards if a certain state is leading the way, we should be supporting them as they set the tone for the rest of the nation to get on board and say, okay, let's do this shit on a national level. And that's what they're known for doing. Before we was born, they've always been known for just, hey, they're gonna be, it leans to the left. They're progressive. I think that's the term I learned before I even moved out here. Or you move into a progressive state, they're always ahead of the rest of the country, Cali and New York. So yeah, that's what's going on right now.
Okay, so I'm just I want to get some more clarity, because I don't know if it's like anybody that possibly in the chat that's a descendant of Africa or the Caribbean or things like that. So I just want to know and get it clear, where does they stand as far as these reparations and stuff like that? Because they may have had their form of enslavement at some point, but it may not necessarily have happened on you know, on American soil. So how would that work for them?
On the national level, now the info I gave earlier, that's on a state level in California. On the national level, if we go based off the bill that's called HR 40, and that's for anybody who want to check it out, that's more on a racial issue, which can get shot down in the Supreme Court. For those of us who know about that, that's what Trump just did with the DEI stuff when he told all the colleges and universities, get rid of all that DEI shit, and he doing that based off race. So I got to give Cali credit for one more thing. They were smart enough out here to say, okay, we're going to do it based off harm. We're going to do it based off what happened to a specific group of people. And that will pass through the Supreme Court. So you can't strike that. That don't count as DEI because we're basing it off. It goes back to, hey, if you can prove your ancestor was a part of this pain, if you can prove your ancestors was here, you know, when all this stuff was going on, you qualify. Hey, my ancestors been here since 1899, 1900. But on the federal level, they might broaden it a little bit. But if it was to happen on Trump watch, he's going to use the race card to say, no, we're not basing it off race. And then that'll tear the whole thing down if we try to base it off race. So to give you a straight answer, as far as our Black immigrant family, the people from the Caribbean, the people from Africa, a lot of them might not get through the genealogy qualification once they get rid of the race component, which the federal level is going to do that for sure. Oh, now get rid of the race component. This has to be based off what they call discrimination, systemic discrimination.
Right, because of course they're going to want to limit how much money they have to pay out anyway. So that's one reason they're going to be doing this. If you know,
and that makes sense. Many people you can eliminate. Absolutely, yeah. If we was in their position, we would do the same thing. Go ahead, Jamie.
I was just gonna say, welcome, Ali. You know, I want to acknowledge that you came in. Yeah, you caught us when we're on the reparations portion, which is basically the last part. You know, I told you last night that we was going to be covering this briefly in the morning show, and then for this nigga, I told you we was going to be covering it in the morning show, and then of course, we're going to cover it even more up in the podcast because we're going to have a lot more time on it. But nigga, stop fucking calling. I forgot to put my phone on do not disturb. This nigga constantly calling. But anyways, is it any questions for the chat why he's here? Do anybody y'all have any questions in regards to reparations and stuff like that?
That's the best way to do it, the Q&A. That way we can answer, we can provide the knowledge that's requested by the people, opposed to me just kind of sharing what I know, and it might hit or miss. When you can answer a question, that's a direct connect to what they want to know. But let me say this while they may be asking some questions in the chat, man. This is the closest we've ever been in our time here in this country. We've never, bro, if like Bucket said, if Newsom hadn't shot down the thing last year, it would already be in motion. So that's how close we are. He's straight up. And then the governor from Maryland, we can step out of Cali for a minute. The governor from Maryland did the same thing. At least he had the courage to just veto the bill. Newsom did some slick shit and tried to get the black Democrats to hold it. And not try, he did. The governor for Maryland, and both of these governors supposed to be running for president. The governor from Maryland just straight up, he had his colleagues go through all that stuff to pass the bill. The bill actually passed, and he vetoed the bill. So but it still shows how close we are. We never been this close.
Okay, so you got a question down there from a girl D, if you can see it.
Yes, thanks D. Thanks for that question. And to give you a straight answer, I like to start off with straight answer. Yes, it's documented that here's what I got. This is what lit my fire. In my lifetime, in 1989, the nation we live in paid reparations to the Japanese people who were put in internment camps. You probably know about this already. They was put, their grandparents were put in internment camps during World War II. So their grandchildren, remember World War II is 1945. So in 1989, the children and the grandchildren of those people who was put in internment camps were paid. They was paid like $20,000 each. I can't remember how many of them it was, but all of them was given $20,000. So to answer your question, yes. And that's such a great question, D, because we trying to find out why. Like, we got the blueprint that they can do it. We know it. It's been done. It ain't even a matter, oh, this has never been. No, it's been done a few times. They paying reparations that they paid it to the certain native tribes on this. Certain native tribes got reparations. Reparations have been paid to groups outside this country. So the toughest question we got to get them to answer is why. Why when it comes to us? And it's a lot of theories to that. But that's a great question.
You know what mine is. You know it. Yeah, you know what mine is. And I just got a quick question for the chat myself. And I don't think we probably will, but I'm just going to ask. Is there anybody potentially in the chat that's not for reparations, feel like we don't deserve it, we should just keep doing what we're doing? Not necessarily if you believe in it or not, but is there anybody in here that feels like we shouldn't get it? I would hope we don't have any hands up, but I'm curious. But while we waiting on some of y'all to answer that question, I know we got a lot of rich celebrities that as I said, in our private conversations before, that's not for it. But I told you what the reasoning, in my opinion, for them for doing that. In my opinion, I think they don't want the rest of the blacks to do, because niggas love to stunt on niggas.
Oh, niggas, say it again,
Jamie. Niggas love to stunt on niggas. That's the truth, bro.
Hey, that's a hell of a line, bro. Keep going. Say niggas love to stunt. If that ain't a fact,
because like these niggas, like, bro, I be saying it all the time. Like, I'm just gonna throw out a couple of people that I know for sure. You know what I'm saying? That's not for. Like I told you, not sure if y'all know who he is.
That's so real.
Anton Daniel. Then you got Marin Gaines. He's not American black, but he's from Sudan, so he wouldn't qualify anyway. So it kind of makes sense why he was saying. But Anton Daniels, nigga, you're born here on American soil. Somebody say bad if they against it.
Straight up.
But the reason why I feel like these quote unquote house Negroes are against it, because they wouldn't be special anymore. They love to stun on niggas. So if we become millionaires overnight, now you would have to really get acknowledged by your character, your personality, what you're bringing to the table, as far as being a human, opposed to he got a lot of money, so we'll bite our tongue and let him do this and do that. And then, of course, women, will cater themselves to those type of guys because they have money. But if everybody has the money, then the woman would start to choose, okay, I like his personality. They would start looking at things other than just their money. So that's the reason why these niggas don't want, don't want us to get it.
That's right.
Anybody disagree with that?
I've been pushing that, Jamie, ever since I heard you say, you said it to me in the phone call, and I've been pushing it. And this is the first time I heard you say the line niggas, and that's, bro, I'm gonna start using that. Niggas love
that's all. Come on, in the rap music and stuff
all
like
that matters.
All they talk about. I know other niggas.
Yeah.
Talking about how much money they got, what car they got, and all this shit. So that's the reason why
hell of a line.
Matter of fact, let me know if you're familiar with any of them. Let me ask you this. Is there any celebrity that you know of, or somebody with a good amount of money that for sure is for the reparations? That has publicly let it be known.
Jamie, I'm not often put on the spot, but I gotta say no, bro. And that's such a great question. Thanks for you know how we usually say if you give me enough time to think, but from an instinct answer, I can't think of nobody, bro. And that's a great question. A celebrity
that tells you there. There you have it.
Damn, bro. You messed me up with that. I can't think of none, fam. And I've been knee deep in this thing since for years. Like I've been a part of the Cali movement. This Sunday will make a full year for me as far as the Cali movement. But just knowing about it, damn, bro. No. To give you an answer, I can't think of none. Hopefully I'll be able to think of one before the end of the show, but nah. And I'm pretty good with instinct answers. No.
Yeah, and
can anybody in the chat think of somebody, a famous celebrity that has came out on the public stage supporting reparations? Damn, that's a great question. Good God.
So with that being said, if there isn't any, that tells you that one of the two things is happening, or it could be a little bit of both. Like I said, the one I just brought up, or the higher powers that's controlling a lot of, because a lot of these folks don't be having control of their money. I be telling folks that they don't have full control of their money. They tell you, like, some of these folks legit got to be like, hey, I want to invest in this, that, and they got to get that shit approved by, and that's another thing about wealth. You know what I'm saying? True wealth, where you're in control of your own. So you ain't got them monitoring what you do. Like, I don't know if y'all seen it was a limited series. It was called True Story by with Kevin Hart and Wesley Snipes, right? I don't know if y'all seen that limited series. It was on Netflix. But in that series, Kevin Hart, in order to be able to transfer money to his brother, because Wesley Snipes was his brother on the show, right? And he wanted to transfer some money to his brother because he got into some trouble. His brother was like basically a fuck up. So he had to hurry up and give his brother some money, and he had to get it approved by his higher ups just to send the money to him. So basically he didn't even have full access to it. And I feel like he was showing us something. In Hollywood, when they put stuff out there, they don't be just putting it out there just to be putting it out there. They be showing you how it actually is. So these folks, like, they have to get it approved. So I think certain people probably would be up for it, but their money is being controlled by those people, so they can't necessarily, just support certain black businesses and stuff like that, or black movements the way they would like to. And then you got certain ones who just simply don't want to, because of the other reason I just gave.
Yeah, the first point you made, right. Keep going. Damn, I'm about to put that question on X, bro. If it's a way for me,
let me know the outcome of that for sure.
Yeah, and I guess it's a way for me to share this show on X as well, right? At least this segment. That's a great question. And now let me add this real quick. I think somebody in the comment, Dally said, true. Okay. Dally said, I would have thought Common or Queen Latifah would support reparations. Those are great two people to mention, but we don't have them on record of doing so. So that says a lot, and more credit to your question, Jamie. I mean, I agree with Dally, but is pro-conscious as Common and Queen Latifah, we perceive them to be. Damn, you messed me up with that, bro. Because now I've heard reparation people ask. I've heard people make the statement, hey, we need to get some celebrities involved. I have heard people say that, and it kind of got quiet.
And here's the crazy, not to cut you off, but cool. Here's the crazy thing, how it's some undercover bullshit that's going on. They be coming out telling us to do stuff, trying to influence us to do stuff with everything else. Like, for instance, this last election, Kamala Harris got a record-setting amount of celebrities back in there, right? All of them coming out, giving their opinions and stuff like that. But when it comes to something that's going to actually make a true change for us, crickets.
Yeah.
That should tell you something. That these celebrities be lying to y'all. They be pushing agendas that don't really care for you. So that's why I'm like, bro, when it comes to that, y'all shouldn't even be listening to anything they have to say. You said,
Right,
I think if a white celebrity supported reparations, they would get off lightly. Didn't you kind of bring that up yesterday? Talking about getting, white people's involved?
That's, you know what, Jamie? That's the main point I want to leave before we wrap up. The hard part of what we have to do is convince right now, from my research, we got them at 30% approval. The hardest part of what we have to do is to get that percent from 30% to 50% as far as the public opinion poll. And then that sort of sways an act of Congress. The people in Congress say, okay, what they call constituents, if I could use a big word, that their constituents like, you know what, we tired of these Negroes complaining about this shit. It's well done. Hey, we for it. We already got him at the George Floyd incident pushed it to 30%. It was lower than that. When everybody saw that happen to George Floyd during the pandemic, it lifted the approval rate for white citizens particularly to 30%. And a scholar from Howard University was telling us because someone was asking that scholar, why does the public opinion poll matter when the Congress people can just pass the bill? And the scholar told the person who asked that question, because the pressure comes from the public. So when you can get the voters, let me use the word voters. When you can get the voters to tell the people that's campaigning to represent them, hey, let's go ahead and get this out the way. They're only 13% of the population. Let's shut them up. Let's work out a fair deal. And another thing, it's one of the great, Jamie, remember we was talking about Hollywood endings. It's a great narrative for the country. It's a great narrative for the nation to be able to say, hey, y'all already know we the greatest nation in the world. And not only that, we went ahead and we did what we had to do to right our wrong. Yeah, the whole world know what we did to our black people. And now we righting that wrong. And now we undisputably going down in world history as one of the greatest nations. Because that's forever going to be a stain if they don't right that wrong. But hey, the chat going off now. I see 7 more comments. Let me see what But Dally, thanks for asking that question. Celebrity worship is pathetic. Yes, it is. Celebrities will support politicians, though. That's interesting, Buckets.
Because
he said celebrities will support.
They're all on the same side.
Point,
it's all about controlling us. That's all it is.
Right. It's a no for Snoop to Leah. Leah said, "What about Snoop?" Jamie made, and me and Jane talk so much, and you've never asked me that question one-on-one, so that's a great question to ask. And no, it's not, so all the celebrities that's been mentioned in the chat, none of them, as of this conversation, to my knowledge, have come out on the world stage and said, "Hey, let's get these reparations popping." And it proves, Jamie, it proves your point that niggas. What's the quote again? I put it in the chat. Niggas love to stunt on niggas. So it's like, nah, don't give them niggas no money because it makes us feel better looking down on them. Come on, man.
I'm gonna put a little.
That shit crazy, bro. Niggas love. I had to write that shit down as a note. Niggas love to stunt on niggas. Nobody else, just us. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. And see, here I'm gonna put a little bit more on this Snoop Dogg thing. Snoop Dogg is the most popular celebrity in the world. I don't know if y'all aware of that. So what I'm gonna tell you is that somebody that's that big and stuff like that, there's no way in the world Snoop Dogg is gonna speak on something like that. Because if you're that big, I'm just keeping it a buck. It's like Ice Cube actually said this before, right? Ice Cube said that when you're reaching this, they're not gonna allow you to reach a certain amount of stardom or money without being on their team. He said that. And I absolutely agree with it. Obviously, I'm not in that bracket with them to 100% confirm it, but you can just tell by the way they be moving that this is the truth. Because whenever it's something that's an agenda being pushed, all of them, they coming out, yeah, this, I support this, I support that. As soon as something that actually will benefit all of us people, you don't hear from them. That should tell you something.
Right on. Now, Jamie, in the comment you just made, you kind of gave the answer to your question, and I didn't want us to wrap up with at least naming one celebrity, and I think Ice Cube might deserve some credit for that because remember he did the contract with Black America.
Yes, I was going to say that. I was actually going to say that. Yes, so that's
at least one.
And then this is the crazy thing about that too. I'm gonna say this. Even though it seemed like maybe nothing happened with it, but I just found it very interesting. The people that they loved to, the people that they loved to vote for, the Democrats and stuff like that, all the people that wanted to support Biden shot it down. Trump actually said
that's right.
he's for it. Facts. Even if he was lying, he said he was for it. Biden shot it down, was like, we'll worry about that after I win the election. Basically saying, exactly get this shit out of my face, nigga. You know you ain't getting that.
Yeah. That's the actual fact, man. And regardless of how we voted, that's a fact what you just said. Biden didn't even give it the time of day. Trump did. Trump said, man, let me check it out.
And then here's another thing. All these Democrats that they love to support, all of them have said we're not going to do nothing for Black people. They have said that. I'm not exaggerating. Yeah. These are their actual words. They're not going to do that. Like, whenever somebody come up and say, hey, are you going to do something specifically for Blacks? They were like, no. They try to make it seem like, it wouldn't be fair for us to do this. But in the same breath, I pass a law for another group and act like we ain't paying attention. At least niggas like me paying attention.
Yeah, no, you right on, and you called it out. Shout out to your boy Buckets, definitely on point. He talking about that wealth gap. So Buckets, the wealth gap is according to that same scholar I was talking about right now, the wealth gap is 1.2 million between white households and Black households. That's what's important about people putting the questions in the comments. It pulls up the information or the knowledge I need to share. Like if you just leave it up to my memory, I might forget certain things. So thanks for asking that. Support Gaming says, sad thing is most of these famous stars used to be at the bottom. They got the nerve to think they better than everyone, and everyone put them on the map. That's a fact, Support Gaming. Yep. Mm-hmm. So yeah, back to you, Jane.
So I just wanted to, I'm gonna ask Miss Pisces. Yeah, that was the first thing that we covered about the 10-year-old genius. But yeah, any other final questions that you guys may have? Like I said, this topic will also be a major part of our Sunday podcast as well, because we'll have more time to kind of dive in on it, and maybe we'll get a specialist that can answer a whole lot of questions, even more so than Taj, that will be there Sunday as well. We'll have to see on that, but
no doubt.
Like always, people, I much respect and love for everybody who came out, that's been supporting me since I started this morning show. I really hope that you was able to learn something, especially with this right here, because this is it. This is what can really be a game changer for us as Black Americans. Now, some of us might blow it and stuff like that, but like you said, even if they do blow it, it's ours to blow. Give us what you owe us, because good damn well y'all got ahead by enslaving our people, and that's the reason why y'all have what you have today.
True facts.
Yeah, true facts. Obama was bad. Obama was bad, bro. And they love some Obama. You gotta be careful, buddies. They gonna attack you on that one.
Wealth gap.
They're gonna attack you on that.
This is a good point. If we could put out the wealth gap, especially continues because we lack education and the same literacy at a young age. We definitely need this This right here, reparations is like, I hope this is a good comparison. It's damn. It's like the debit card version of EBT. You know what I mean? So if somebody qualifies for EBT, You go through the process to get your EBT, and however you spend your EBT, that's your business. If you want to buy junk food, that's your business. If you want to buy health food, that's your business. It's the same thing with the reparations debit card, or however they give it to us in digital currency, whatever. However, they didn't ask the Japanese people how they spent their money. You know what I'm saying? Now, if they want to put some programs with it to help repair us psychologically and all that other stuff, yeah, we'll take that too. But yeah, we need to close that wealth gap, because that wealth gap, as the scholar said, is a direct connection of what it did to us. When you go back to Black Wall Street and all the other, wealth we had them built, we wasn't allowed to transfer generational wealth. And the wealth gap directly reflects that. The 1.2 million. Dog, you got white households, well, they didn't even graduate high school making more money than some of our most professional, people. But as you said, I close on niggas, love to stun on niggas, and we need reparations for that too. That's shit.
Why don't we have a strong third party? We should have more than Democrats and the Republicans in mainstream politics.
Can I respond to that?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
All right, so D, your question say, why don't we have a strong third party? All right, we have a third party called the Justice for All Party. Is it strong? No, but it could become strong if, and I got to give Jamie some credit, because Jamie always kind of went hard on the Democrats, and his words and thoughts aged well. I left the Democratic Party. Have I changed my registration yet? No, but I'm pretty much done with them. And I'm transitioning to what's called the Justice for All Party. And that started by Cornel West and the lady who started Black Lives Matter.
And Cornel West is actually a black man that we didn't support.
Right. Remember, he ran for president.
He did.
And he ran on his own party. So to D's question, we do have a third party, and it would take for us to leave the Democratic plantation and go make that party strong. Great question, D. Jam, you got to keep this reparation thing going, because your people, they into this stuff.
Yeah, I told
Cornel
you.
West,
I told you last
okay,
night.
so,
I was like, bro, they was kind of excited about it when I mentioned it last night. So that's why I said, if you up to it, let's do it.
You got something, bro. Keep it going, and I'll do my best to bring you some more experts. It seems like you got a few already in the chat. Bucket's on point with the lenient stuff. When you read certain words, you know a person up on what's going on. So words like lineage, the question D just asked about the party, we got a third party, D. We gotta cross over.
Okay, hold on. Super chat. Appreciate you,
DeMarcus.
Would y'all consider not paying taxes forever as a form of reparations? Hey, I think that's pretty good. What you think, Todd? I think we should get more than that, but that's pretty good.
So you beat me to it. You speak for me. That's the first thing. So in the process of reparations, all of us should be tax exempt. Bro, just think about the wage theft that was done. So imagine somebody on your grandma or your granddad, and you will probably step to them. And I'm using probably lightly. If you know this person owes your grandma $100,000, or your granddaddy, or your mom, or your father, you would kind of step to that. Hey, yo, man, the people who survived them still here. We need that. We struggling over here. You owe my grandma, you owe my granddad $100,000, $1 million. Give us at least 3/3 of that, if not all. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, bro. So to that question, the tax exempt thing should have been done right away. Remember, we live in a capitalistic country, and the root word of capitalism is capitalize. This country is always going to try to capitalize on your ass if you let it. That's just that's the country we live in. That's what it is. Go ahead, Jay. I mean, this comment section.
I agree. Man. Definitely give us our land too. And Hazy, to answer I'll reply to what you just said. So even on the Native Americans things, right? They even finessing when it comes to that shit, because I can't give you in a year, but I do know at a certain time period, a lot of Spanish people, and when I say Spanish, I'm not speaking of Mexicans and stuff like that. I'm talking about people from Spain, came over here and made it with a lot of the natives and stuff like that, and then they came over and converted over to be Native Americans, and those are the people that's getting those exemptions and stuff that you're speaking of. A lot of the actual Native American Indians are us, but they finessed us into believing we're something else so that we won't gain those benefits. So we supposed to have been included when they was getting this shit, because we are those people. They
That's
just
right.
be lying to us all the fucking time.
Man, yo folks woke, Jamie. I'm going through this comment section, and I'm not. Pardon me for being surprised, but you got something here, bro. I would encourage y'all to keep this going, this reparation thing, on whatever frequency y'all want to do it. A weekly frequency, a monthly frequency. That's up to y'all. But I'm just reading your comment section, bro. Your people woke. They on point. Hezekiah.
Well, depending on, if you want to, like I said, it's up to you, because obviously, you know a whole lot. You're way more knowledgeable about this than I am. Mm-hmm. If you want to start making it, a certain time out of maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, or once a month, whichever one, we can definitely, import it in to start covering this a lot more.
Yeah, count me in, especially for this. I'm passionate about this. So once you give me the green light, it's on and popping.
Cool. We'll set it up.
All right. And then what we can do before we close out, once we do a few of them, I'll share it with the people. I get my knowledge and information from the reparation experts, and then hopefully that'll intrigue one of them to come on and say, I like what y'all got going. I'm gonna come on and speak as well. And then you will have expert, and then you got experts in your comment section already. I'm reading the comments, and they on point, homie. I'm not gonna lie to you. All in, we're all in C. That was a good point too.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. He said, I got rid of a goofy ass troll in the chat. And you got some riders.
That's your job. That's your job. Hey,
I appreciate y'all supporting my party, man. You got some riders. We are the natives too, all in with yep. Hezekiah, look at how they do the Jews. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They give Jews $3.8 billion a year. And like you said, that didn't even happen here. So we more than qualified and justified. Before we close, I know this the hardest part of what we got to do, y'all. We got to use the knowledge we have to boost that 30% of white people. It's a lot of white people that's for it, but they're kind of afraid of their crazy ass cousins, whoever you want to call their crazy ass cousins to be. So they don't really come, like you kind of said about our celebrities, they don't really want to come out and be vocal about it. But it's our job to at least have the knowledge. So if we ever have a conversation with them, we can hit them with all the facts. And like, okay, now you go to sleep with that tonight. If you got a conscience. You know what I'm saying? If that don't bother you, you might not have one. But here's the facts. We done trying to prove our pain. Y'all know what y'all did to us. Let's resolve this matter so this nation can go down with a great reputation. This nation got the opportunity to outdo Rome. And if they don't fix that reparation issue, it ain't gonna happen.
But there y'all have it. Like I told y'all, we was gonna have a nice little segment on it. To me, I think this is the most knowledgeable session that we had so far. So definitely appreciate you coming up and sharing this. And we're gonna definitely keep pushing this.
Right on. Now I appreciate the platform, bro. Thanks for bringing me on, and shout out to everybody in your chat that participated and the people that's gonna check it out later. You got something, Jamie. I'm proud of you, bro. Much love.
Thank you. But all right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to close it out, and then like usual, I'm gonna prep up for some more stuff. Of course, we'll definitely have the late nights, after hour session tonight as well. So a lot of y'all, I'll catch you later on tonight. But until then, I'm gonna holler at y'all.
Much love, y'all.